You are listening to Wicked Psychotherapists, a podcast where two psychotherapists show you that taking care of and learning about mental health doesn't have to be wicked hard.
Hey everyone, it's Tanya.
Hi, it's Erin, and welcome to Wicked Psychotherapists.
So today, welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time. We're going to be continuing our obsession with Adam Sandler and talking about the 1999 classic Big Daddy. We decided to talk about this because, well, Adam Sandler, but also it has a lot of themes in the movie that are presented that we think are interesting, but just it's hilarious. Classic Adam. And some other people in there that I actually just remembered. Kevin is played by
Jon Stewart.
Yeah. And he's got Rob Schneider in there.
Of course.
His buddies around him. He plays Steve Buscemi, who plays the homeless
Buscemi,
guy.
and then also, I never can remember this poor guy's name, but the one who was in Mr. Deeds and he was pretending to be sick and, like worked in the airport, like on the landing area. Like he's always in all his movies too.
I don't remember his name either. And hopefully if you're an Adam fan like us, you remember it too.
You're like, oh yeah, that's so-and-so.
Yeah. But yeah, so I rewatched this again. I definitely saw this back in the 90s, right at the turn of the millennia, which is so scary to think about. It was 26 years ago. Let's take a breath for that one. But yeah, it's this movie is pretty classic because it talks about and kind of goes over how Adam Sandler's character, Sonny Koufax, he's just kind of this freewheeling bachelor. He's not really serious about anything. He's like in his early 30s, 32. He was going to law school. I don't know if he quit or just didn't continue on with it afterwards. But he is coasting in life, not really doing anything. He's kind of just goofing off, messing around at the park. He's trying to trip skate.
It's like, what do I do? Let me just throw sticks at them or see what happens if it gets into their wheel. I have nothing else to do during the week.
I can't stop. Whenever I watch that movie, I can't get those images out of my head for a while. How he casually puts a stick in there and is like, oh, and the skateboarders go flying head first into the pond. And he's like, oh, there's a stick there. You might want to watch out for that. But he's that level of maturity in this movie. Yeah, so he very much is kind of he's riding off of this settlement he got from a car running over his foot 2 years ago or something like that, and kind of acting like that set him back, but really it's himself that he set back. He's just kind of, doing nothing. He's eating cereal, watching cartoons, and tripping people at the park, and going and visiting his friends, and just kind of, working one day a week as like a booth operator. Nothing against that, but doing the bare minimum of what he maybe could.
He kind of gets stuck at this age or this time period, just not wanting to move on, just frozen.
He's got the failure to launch Arrested Development kind of thing going on. He's really hapless. And the first scene that we see him in, he's fighting with his girlfriend because she's just fed up with him. She knows that he's a layabout. He's not doing anything with his life. She's just tired of it. He's immature. And he's like, well, I don't want you to come on, like, don't leave me. And she's just like, no, you don't have our stuff together. I don't want to be with someone like that. And so right off the bat, you see he's just all around not winning in life at all. He's losing. And then from that point on, he's just depressed. His whole focus is, how do I get Vanessa, the girlfriend, back? He's got this contentious relationship with his roommate's girlfriend, who becomes his fiance. He doesn't want his friend to propose to her at the party, so he kind of ruins it and shouts it before his roommate gets a chance to do it. He's stuck in time, and he wants his friends to kind of be stuck with. They're all moving on to jobs, and they're all lawyers. He formerly was in school, but just didn't finish. So he's setting up kind of a life of isolation, of not being like what we used to term slacker, right? Or maybe still do. I don't know. He's just not going anywhere. He's, saying, oh, I'm happy and this and that, but he's realizing everybody else is moving on. And that's what makes him unhappy.
And they're not really liking that they have to pay his bills or take care of him. And it's just not cute or funny anymore. It comes to a point when you start advancing in life, or you start having this career, and you have this person who's just kind of has the failure to launch. It's hard to be around that when you want to grow up, or you want to not be stuck in that immaturity.
Yeah. And I think Sonny also uses the accident, like he kind of tries to make it out like it's bigger than it was. I think his foot probably needed some help a couple of years back, but has probably been fine. He just kind of keeps bringing that up, like to his girlfriend when she was leaving. He was like, I had an accident, like I have a disability. Yeah, he uses a lot of excuses. I think he's realizing everybody else is moving on and he really doesn't want to. Something is just keeping him stuck there. It's like a fear of maybe moving.
Fear of becoming an adult. And maybe he doesn't want to become like his father too, because his father is a lawyer, a successful lawyer. Maybe Sonny's just like, I don't want to be pressured into it, or I don't want to become like him.
Yeah, because his dad is kind of an overbearing, authoritative, not so understanding person. And maybe he sees that as like, I don't want to turn out to be that way. And maybe he thinks if he goes down that career path, he'll be this, he'll just be repeating history. So maybe he just stays stalled.
Yeah, it's just guaranteed that that's who I'll be, but it's not. And I don't think Sonny is able to see that. So instead, it's just like, I'll just stay home and just eat my cereal on the couch.
Yeah. And I do think it is a pivotal moment, of course, when this young boy who's like, 5 or so, Julian, shows up at his door, just gets dropped there. There's a message saying like, you're the father. He ends up figuring it out that it's for
Kevin,
his roommate, who's in China at the time doing business or whatever. And so he decides, well, I'll take him in until Kevin gets back and take care of him. Like, how hard could it be, right? And he learns it's pretty hard. It's not that simple. It's not even close to having a dog. Often imitates caring for him by putting down newspaper if he wets the bed or spills something on the floor. He just
like, we'll just hide it. We'll just cover it. We don't even need to clean it. That's it.
Yeah. And so, he starts teaching Julian all these methods that are just so not helpful, not development.
Just frat boy mentality of like, all right, drop it and let it stay.
Newspaper that's getting all black and the ink that comes off or whatever.
Well, Tanya's overanalyzing but
I do that. It just makes me sick.
But I'm sure he does become the smelly kid, so I'm sure he stinks. I'm sure he's not being told, okay, let's put on some clean underwear or whatever. It's just like, all right, this will do. You dried off.
Yeah, no, I'm not blaming the kid. I'm blaming Sonny. That's so gross that but the kid
Sonny
wouldn't know.
But at the time, it seems like Sonny was maybe Sonny was even a little depressed or something. So Sonny's not probably high on the hygiene thing either. He's probably not thinking of like, oh yeah, I have to take a shower every day, or let me, so the kid is going to have to take a bath or a shower each time he pees his pants.
He's just not putting himself in the shoes of someone who is taking care of someone else. He's not used to really having to go to work and face people and having to, like he works in a toll booth where he can just kind of be in his own literal place, like his own little kind of bubble, and probably wouldn't face any, if he did show up smelling like pee or sweat or whatever yucky thing, nobody would really say anything. He's like, yeah, whatever. But he decides he wants this to work because he wants to try and make an instant family to show Vanessa, the girlfriend who left him, like, hey, I'm responsible. I have a family. I'm a family man now, right? Like I got a kid and I kept him alive. So I'm a family man.
Yeah, because that was one thing that she's like, you're immature. You don't know what you're doing. You're stuck. I need someone with a 5-year plan. So what better way than saying, okay, well, I have a kid. Here's my 5-year plan.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a pretty poorly thought out one. Not to mention he's, committing fraud by
he could end up in jail.
He's Kevin.
Yeah.
And, all this other good stuff, which again, I know is an overanalyzation, but those things stick out to me because I'm me. There is kind of this point, I think, when he starts to realize, oh wait, this is, he shows them these tricks, these funny like Sonny-isms, right? Where he goes and he trips, skaters at the park. He shows, hey, that's funny. Go ahead and throw it in front of people and say, hey, I got one. And pee outside, if you kind of can't find a bathroom, and put newspaper down. All these tricks that eventually when and he lets him name himself, and he chooses his name, Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, that's good. And he's like, he thinks he's discovered this whole new parenting style, and he's just like a genius. And he's like, see, he has to go to school. He does the right thing. I just let him do what he wants. Like, kids will get there, and his friends are like, oh, yeah, okay, sure. But then he realizes he's wrong, because the teacher wants to speak to him once he does go to school, and it's basically like he's the smelly kid. He pees on the floor or in a plant or whatever. Tries to trip kids by throwing sticks.
There's sticks in front of them. He puts newspaper down when he drops something or spills something. It's like not normal behavior. So then
she was like, I've never seen this in like 40 years of teaching. She's like an older woman.
So it's like, and all of that didn't affect him until he's like the smelly kid. You can't be the smelly
That's the
kid.
thing that got him. He's like, oh, I made him the smelly kid? Oh, he's the smelly kid? No, that's like the worst insult ever.
Yeah, because that sticks. Because, like, you always, like, whatever happens in, like, middle school or high school, you're like, you're elementary even, it was like, oh my God, you don't want that to stick. You don't want that to stick through all of your years of school.
Yeah, like being called, like, smelly whatever, or stinky whatever. Yeah, because kids will hang on to anything they can.
Yeah.
He starts to get serious and is like, okay, we got to take baths, we got to set up a routine, we got to eat some better food. And of course, Frankenstein, or Julian, is kind of rebellious towards that, because he's already gotten a taste of like, no, this is what I want to do. This is fun.
It's nice having the freedom. It's nice being friends, hanging out.
Yeah, and just kind of eating junk food till I pass out, and yelling at the screen and breaking things. And so he gets really, kind of like, okay, I gotta try and get this kid to do things. And he's coming up against like, oh, how do I show routine and discipline to this kid when I haven't been showing it to him?
Yeah.
And why would he know that? He's kind of, it's just dawning on him now. And so he starts to realize like, oh, I've got to be a role model. I've got to kind of do these things, but also like come up with a creative way. And he dresses up like his favorite toy, Scuba Steve.
Yeah.
And he's like, you got to stay clean and eat foods that are good for you.
Yeah. Thanks, Scuba Steve. So then he's like, okay, all of a sudden he's trying to be a really good boy, just doing everything.
Yeah.
Scared straight.
Yeah. Scuba Steve. And he was like, I thought that was a good creative way of handling that. See, you could see that Sonny really cares. He really is starting to, really bond with this kid, and see that his own behavior is connected to this kid's behavior. This is like the first time he's had to look outside of himself, and that definitely will change you a little bit and make you grow up.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of the first ding there of like, I gotta do some responsible stuff. But then he tries to get Vanessa back, and at this point, Vanessa is with an old man, Sid.
Yeah, Sid. Who's probably like, I don't know. And Sid's probably, and Sid's at least 70.
He's old. Yeah, he's an old. I mean, for them, he's older for them. And she's like, he's mature. He has a 5-year plan, and Sonny gets mad because he figured, oh, this will be the perfect plan to win her back. What better way to show maturity than having a kid to take care of? And he's just upset and really like, oh, wow. And then he kind of starts to realize this is a lot, and it didn't even get me what I was setting out to get, which is really, really crappy for the kid.
Yeah, I've done all this work. But it's kind of like, oh, wait, the kid's little, like Julian's little, so it's like he's not going to realize like that he's just a pawn. But it is probably like, oh, is Sonny not going to keep me? What's happening? He's not, this woman I thought we were going to become an instant family.
Yeah, and he's also in his, when Sonny goes back to the social services person, he informs him that Julian's mother had died. That's why she was kind of, I guess, leaving him with the biological father, Kevin. Mm-hmm. Realizes he'll have to go into foster care. And, Sonny's like, oh, I don't want that. And so he kind of is like, oh, I got to, I'll keep him until, we can
figure something.
He cares enough about that. And he's realizing, oh, wait, I care. I made a bond with this kid. And by then, I mean, he's a part of his life. He's going to the park with him. He's trying to teach him, like, be kind, like, put up signs and be like, be careful over here instead of throwing the stick. Even though the Steve Buscemi's character, the
homeless guy,
he's like, he goes flying into the pond anyways. He's like, oh, hi. And then he just goes flying.
Steve Buscemi, I know we've said this before. I wish we might have to go down a rabbit hole of Steve Buscemi movies. He is just the best.
I love him. Yeah, he is really funny. He plays some really funny characters.
He must just be such a character in real life too.
I do like
just so
him.
interesting.
I like him for a long time. He reminded me of someone I didn't like. I do like him now, but yeah, he tells his dad about the kid. His dad's like, you're gonna mess that kid up, and nobody really seems to have faith. And Sonny's just really starting to realize, wait, I'm onto something because there's something good here.
Yeah.
I bond with this kid, and this kid listens to me. He's doing well after some changes and adjustments.
And he's seeing too that he's able to take care of something or someone besides himself. And there's a world outside of just himself, which is really opening up things for him. And that is probably helping him to have a little bit more maturity and realizing that, taking care of Julian, making sure that he thrives and, does well in school and gets dressed, gets fed is probably making him want to become an adult, making Sonny want to grow up.
Yeah, so they're both kind of growing and developing together, and this fear of adulthood that he has moving on to the next phase is suddenly not that scary when he can face these other things and realize like, oh, I can do this with this kid, and I really care about this kid. It was like through that he realized he can move through it, some of those obstacles and those fears. Yeah, and I think also just really finding a meaningful relationship with someone. Like, I don't think he'd ever established that. Even with Vanessa, he just is kind of goofing around on his time. He watch hockey, and they wouldn't really do anything together, but he developed a good bond with this kid, and he really wants him to. And so I think that really kind of changed his perspective around too. But yeah, and so we see that then the social worker discovers, oh wait, this is not Kevin, his roommate. This is
how long it took him her to realize, like, oh wait, this is Sonny Kovacs and not the Kevin that I'm looking for. Is so crazy.
And like, how did he discover it just all of a sudden then? If he didn't, he didn't ask for ID the first time around.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, but whatever. Details, 90s details, 90s of it all. But yeah, and he's like, oh well, I gotta take him, and then he realizes how much they really love each other, really care about each other when he's being taken away from me, and the only thing he wants is Sonny, right? That's the person he's been to. And he said, I'm not gonna say exactly what he said, but I can wipe myself, I don't have to worry.
I'm here, I can take care of I can do something. He just wants to stay. He's like, I love you.
Yeah. And Sonny's just like goes berserk and enlists the help of Layla, who's a lawyer, and his friends who are lawyers. And I guess Kevin somehow gets a hold, like, he's got all these lawyers representing him.
Well, and Kevin's not really thrilled at first about the whole situation
because he kind of had this life planned with Corinne, and he's wasn't ready for a child.
And then it forces Kevin to have to explain some of his past and try to go back and remember and tell Corinne, this woman who he wants to marry and be with.
Corinne always puts Sonny down for being immature, but the person she's going to marry has some skeletons in his closet.
The secrets. On the outside, Kevin appears to be really mature, but he's not able to commit. So he's cheating and he's doing other stuff, or, it's just, he's just showing it in his immaturity in a different way than Sonny has.
Yeah. Yeah. I always thought that was kind of ironic, because he seems to be like, oh, professionally he's all above board, but like there's other things that
emotionally
they went away.
Emotionally, professionally too, but emotionally, and what is the other word? Why can't I think, Tanya? Personally, emotionally, and personally, he just seems like he struggles.
Yeah. And then they go to court for to see where Julian will end up. Julian says, no, I want to be with Sonny, and he cries, he's upset. And people really see how much Sonny has grown in this and how he really stepped up. And he really, I mean, he could have just, said, hey, this isn't my kid, and returned him to be in a foster family or foster care. And he actually took this on, even though it was tough and he struggled, and he made mistakes, but he still did a lot more than, it really shows his character, I think.
And then even his dad is there in the courtroom. And so a lot of people who really didn't take him seriously or weren't there for him show up at this time.
They start to realize how much this has helped him grow, that he has a meaningful purpose here and connection. But that's not how the story ends. It still ends pretty happy. It's not like a neat bow, but it's wrapped up, for the most part.
Yeah.
A nice ribbon, I guess. And, you realize at the end that it kind of skips ahead, and just kind of tells you what's happened in the meantime. That Sonny is with Layla, who we didn't even really mention Layla.
Yeah.
Did we?
Well, okay. So let's quickly talk about Layla. So Layla is Corinne's sister. And Sonny always makes fun of Corinne because she worked at Hooters in the past. And now is she a pediatrician? What is she? She's some sort of doctor.
I know she's a doctor.
But I think Sonny starts to realize, because he does like Layla, and Layla is so sweet, and she likes Julian because, she's just a nice person. I think that also made Sonny start questioning his own present of not finishing his bar and not being a lawyer, because not all lawyers are like his dad. You can be kind and nice. And Layla seems to kind of understand, like where Sonny is struggling and not judging. She doesn't seem like she judges him so much. Like, I'll change, I'll do this. And where Layla, it seemed like, okay, it's more supportive.
Vanessa had like the 5-year plan of like, it was just about kind of
finances,
success based in that category. Whereas Layla's very, sees him, and there is a point where she kind of feels like, well, this is too much. I didn't ask you to bring this kid into my life. I don't know if I want this. But then, obviously she changes her mind. And you see at the end that Sonny has returned he is a lawyer now. He's with Layla. They have a baby. And Julian / Frankenstein, I'm guessing he goes by Julian, is with Kevin and Corinne and calls them dad and mom.
Yeah. And then they're at Hooters. Sid and Vanessa are working there. And it's their 5-year plan.
He's like, oh, is this your 5-year plan? Oh, he's like the cook and she's a waitress. And...
Yeah, but Sid's really happy. It's like, hey, Sonny.
Yeah, that's how it ends. It kind of shows the journey of how he grows through this block that he has, and he learns lessons about himself, fatherhood, and self-growth, and how he sees himself and being what he wants to be, and not having to be afraid of it, because he was kind of put trial by fire, sort of. But yeah, he had to kind of just be thrown in there and then realize what it is he wants and how to get that. I would say a lot of times with examples in real life that people don't necessarily have this setup where they're like, they just dropped out of law school and they're kind of just a little bit floating. It's more like they've been kind of floating for a while and they don't necessarily have like just law school to go back to, and it's, kind of that easy. I would say there's a little bit more obstacles in the way. But...
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you don't, I think I told you I was a floater. Like I dropped out, went in probably like 3 or 4 different majors before I figured out what I wanted to do. And sometimes you just don't know, because sometimes it's like, do I go the same route as my family, or what is it that I should, because I know growing up, I always had the pressure to become a nurse because my grandmother was a nurse. Uncle was a psychologist. So then I had that pressure, of like, maybe you should do that. My dad has a lot of lawyers in the family. So I was like, oh my God, what do I want to do? I'll do nothing. So like, it just was like really stressful, because I would just try a little bit, like, let me try medical terminology, see if I like nursing. Let me do this, so it was just, so until finally I was like, oh, psychology, I like, started different nonprofit I worked at, like working with people. And I was like, oh, I like this. And it just made me realize, like, okay, I think I want to become a therapist. So it took me a while. It was like a lot of things. So I wasn't just working 5 hours a week like Sonny. Just trying to figure it out.
He didn't have that luxury of just kind of.
I had to work more than 5 hours because I'd probably be homeless.
And I think we know people, we see people, we may have been those people,
Yeah.
right? And there's different factors that go into that. So it is relatable. I think
Yeah.
to a degree. I think to the amount that he just, maybe at a certain point was just like, hey, I just don't want to be a lawyer. Maybe I just don't want to be like my dad, and maybe I just don't want that type of life, that it could just kind of scare him off. Yeah, and I've definitely had clients who've had kind of this failure to launch or not really sure where to go and feel like, okay, I'd rather just do nothing than do something. And that can be a fair amount of them, especially in this younger generation where career change is pretty standard.
And also there is so much pressure now for people right when they get out of high school or even when they're still in college. They have this expectation. And I know we've talked about this in past podcasts where it's like all of a sudden I'm going to be at tier 2 or 3 in my company. I'm not going to just start as an intern. There's this expectation that people want to be management or higher or this high level something. Sometimes you have to just start at the bottom. And sometimes people are like, well, if I can't do it, then I'm not going to do it. That happens to clients who have that kind of failure to launch because it's like, I don't want to be in the in between. I don't want to do the work to get there. So I'm going to just stall.
Like it seems like, is this going to be worth it? So I don't really necessarily want to go there if it's not going to be worth it to put in all this time. So it can be tough. It definitely is something that we see a lot. I think more and more frequently with the incoming generation into the work world, probably more.
Definitely.
And they also have a lot of other options that are kind of presented to them with social media and jobs you can do at home, ways you can create businesses for yourself.
Yeah.
So I think there may be a lot of confusion as to like, should I do this or should I focus on like creative pursuits? It's kind of tough. More options.
I have that stupid algorithm on Instagram. It's like, do you want to make $1 million selling stuff on Amazon? Right.
Oh.
I'm like, oh my God, if it was that easy, people, we all would be millionaires writing our notebooks. And I think a lot of people get into that too of like, well, if I could just do that, then I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to be on my couch. And then it's like the what ifs they're planning. It just becomes hard to move, hard to make a decision.
Yeah. Yeah. I think with all the things that you think, hey, sometimes these, like I think for our generation, it was pretty much like you go into jobs, you go into careers, and maybe there was a little more flexibility in thinking like, I don't have to stay here. I don't have to stay loyal, not like the boomer generation,
right?
But it wasn't as like, oh, I could do this or I could do that if I really focus my time and energy. And I think it can be kind of overwhelming to know what's right for you.
Well, and I remember too, I finally took like a college success class or something like that, like trying to figure out what you should take. It's like, oh, why didn't I do this before I spent all this money trying to figure out everything? Because it's like, oh yeah, I'll do liberal arts. I'll just be a liberal arts major. Then it's like, no, I don't want to do that. Oh, I'll do this or that. But then it's like, oh wait, I should 100% be a therapist. Like after I took the thing, it's like, or a teacher, which I'm like, no, thank you. But yeah, so it's interesting like that. That should be pushed more like in high school before you go into college. So you're not applying for 1,000 colleges or trying to figure out what you want to do. So instead of you could be like, hey, I want to do this trade or, or I want to go to college.
I think there were some tests that they gave us that like it was optional to take to be like, hey, do you want to see like what your talents are in? But it was optional. And I did go and take it, but it basically just told me like, oh, you're strong in science and you're strong in English. And I was like, okay, but what do I do with that? It wasn't really, it's still like you have to know yourself.
Yeah.
It takes some time.
And sometimes it takes living life and having a little bit of adulting. Maybe Sonny wasn't really doing adulting before he met Julian because that kind of forced him out of that. You become 18 or 19, you go into college or whatever your next step is. But then you're still a kid. Your brain is not fully developed even by time you graduate from college. So Sonny was just like floundering until he was kind of forced to really become an adult.
Pretty much. Some people end up with probably not those exact scenarios, but some other things that maybe are like, hey, maybe seeing my friends move on. And that's what I commonly hear is like, oh, I feel kind of lonely because my friends are doing this and I feel kind of left behind. And like, what am I doing? Should I do this or should I reevaluate what is it I want to move to the next kind of step?
Or I've had some, because I do see a lot of people in that ages, like in the early 20s onward. But I've had a lot who are like, especially people who went through school and everything at the end of COVID. So like their high school and their college time has looked a lot different than other people, before that. So it's like, oh, wait, I'm still living at home, or I haven't moved out, or I haven't done this, or I haven't done any of these first that a lot of my friends have already done and surpassed me. So I'm seeing a lot of that where it is like a failure to launch, but it's also like I'm comfortable and I'm safe. And now I'm really scared to make that move because this is what I've been doing my whole life. And now I'm like 26 or 27 or, it's just really hard to push yourself out of that sometimes.
Yeah, especially with social media where, it's your highlight reels and they see people doing all these amazing things, being millionaires by 23, and they're like, oh my God, I am so far behind.
Yeah.
And it's really a distortion. It's a distorted view. And so it can really be in your face. About some really good points about why Sonny was in that position, kind of things that helped him to move along, even though this was a very funny, silly movie. I mean, I was cracking up at parts.
Yeah.
I can't get over the pond, the tripping and the flying headfirst. It sticks with me. It makes me laugh. Which brings me to our question, our fun question.
I always look forward to these.
I actually don't have one that I think I could ask that applies to the movie.
Okay.
So for some reason, I just have ice cream on my mind. And so I'm just wondering, with summer coming up, what is the first flavor of ice cream that you want to try this summer, or what is your favorite ice cream?
Okay. So
very simple.
My favorite ice cream is usually, I'm kind of boring. I do like a good French vanilla. But I also really like green mint chocolate chip. It has to be green. I don't know why. I always feel like the white, even though it tastes like mint chocolate chip, is not. And then I like to put that hardened shell on stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So that is usually my go-to. Butter pecan, because I'm an old lady. But I just I stopped liking that. But now I went back to vanilla. Growing up as kids, this is how, I guess, cheap or whatever my dad, we'd always get the Napoleon ice cream.
Yep.
And then unfold the box, and my dad would slice it. Or, what he would also do, which was so, we were like, what? He would sometimes be like, well, your mom likes chocolate. So then my mom got or if he didn't slice it, he would just scoop it, and then my mom would get all the chocolate. And then we would be stuck with stupid strawberry. I hate strawberry ice cream. Well, I'll eat it if I have to, but I hate strawberry ice cream because that was I was always forced to do the strawberry because my dad liked vanilla. And then as kids, I'm like, come on, I want chocolate too, or I want vanilla, but yeah, if he would slice it, we'd get all three. But otherwise, if my mom was in charge before he took it out and you could just take it out and just slice it, it'd always be a weird mixture. Yeah. I guess it's the thing. It's okay, well, if you have a big family and we both come with a lot of siblings and stuff. So it's I guess that's the fair way is Napoleon. But who actually chooses Napoleon by choice? I don't know. I mean, that is not my go-to ice cream, Napoleon.
I think it's probably at the time, it was probably the only one that had 3 flavors. Yeah. And if you do have multiple kids and stuff, and I don't know. My sisters and I'm pretty sure we just kind of went at it and we're first come, first served kind of thing.
I'm getting the vanilla.
I liked the strawberry, but I just honestly, I was if I can get any, this is great, kind of thing. Because it was just one for all. Yeah.
I did like the Napoleon that had the actual strawberry chunks in it. That was good. Because sometimes you'd get the strawberry, it was just the flavoring. But sometimes you'd get the Napoleon and I like that. I do like strawberry ice cream or any. There's a Bing cherry ice cream that's so good. The Publix sell. I don't know if that is good. Okay, so Bing cherry might be one of my favorite.
Or chocolate cherry chip, that one is so good. Actually a really good one.
That's really good too. So maybe that's really because I like the actual pieces of the fruit in it.
Yeah, that always makes it feel more authentic.
Yeah, and yummy.
Yummy. Yeah, I've always loved mint chocolate chip, and yes, the green one. It's got to be the green one. That's the one I've always liked. I would say over the past decade or so, I still love mint chocolate chip, but I tend to like cherry chocolate chip if I can find it.
I've never had that.
The cherry chocolate chip?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I was I think I just said that, but I was maybe I said it differently. I don't know, but I thought I said it differently. Okay, clearly we're losing our minds here.
I did say it differently. But yes, I know what you're talking about because I just said I had it. So apparently I am insane. But yes, I know.
It's just that they're not like being like, it's just like cherry chocolate, like in general or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
but those are so good. Yeah. Those are so delicious.
That one, and what I've really loved like for like a lot is I like the Chunky Monkey or banana ice cream. Like I love that has like been my favorite.
Like Ben and Jerry's.
Ben and Jerry's. Like it's not necessarily even them, but like they just kind of happen to make a great combo there that has banana ice cream.
I've never had that,
and I just
I've
love
never
it.
had any banana ice cream.
It's so good.
I've had banana
That's like
pudding.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, I'll have to try that.
But I tend to kind of lean more towards like now that I'm thinking about the cherry chocolate chip. That one I'm kind of leaning towards more.
That is really good. Yeah, Publix, where I am from. You know, I know there's.
I love Publix,
but their Publix ice cream brand. I think Publix ice cream is better than like Breyers and stuff like that. I don't know. It's probably made in the same company, but it's so good.
No, Publix is a good company. I really wish there were Publixes up north. There's just not.
Yeah, Shaw's and IGA and
Big Y. Those are fine.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, Publix was the best.
Yeah, I love ice cream. I could eat ice cream every day, which is an issue, but I love ice cream.
It is good. I tend to like. Lately, I've been getting those Yasso fudge ice cream bars that they're made with like Greek yogurt or whatever, and they're
yum.
They're really good. They're like pretty low, you know, if you get just the fudge ones, like it's pretty good. It kind of satisfies a craving. So I keep a lot of those on hand. Yeah.
While I'm getting my unhealthy drumsticks.
I love drumsticks. Oh my God, those are so good. Now I really want ice cream. I'm going to go to the store and get like cherry chocolate chip drumsticks, mint chocolate chip, Ben and
Your
Jerry's.
whole cart will be filled up like having a party. Nope, just a craving.
No, just me. Yeah. Let us know what your thoughts are. If we missed anything that you think, contact us or connect with us on all socials.
And if there's more Adam Sandler or Steve Buscemi that you want to listen to or anything like that, let us know. We still have it. Last week, you would have heard Happy Gilmore. I think we still have like 2 more Adam Sandler in this obsession. There may be more coming up because we still could do the one where they're all friends. I can't remember that one where all the best friends are hanging out.
Grown-ups.
The grown-ups. Yeah. Grown-ups 1 and 2 maybe.
That one's a good one.
That is good.
Yeah. And there's a couple other ones I have in mind too, actually, for like holiday ones.
I say we should do Nikki, but that's so stupid. Like
Nikki,
it's a stupid haircut.
Yeah, that's not one of my favorites, but we still might. I mean,
it could be Halloween.
But yes, another Halloween one, the Hubie Halloween.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. I saw that. That's on Netflix. Yeah, I saw that once. I probably should see it again. Yeah. He's so dumb.
It's pretty cute. I like it, but yeah. So leave us a review, subscribe, and follow us wherever you follow.
We don't
like that
on social media or YouTube or Instagram or anything like that. And on our podcast, follow us and share. Like, please send the show to people you know.
Absolutely. And don't forget, stay wicked.
And keep your mind well. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, guys. Take care.